Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II, World at War with our Allied playthrough. In the last episode, we saw some very poor performance on our part in Africa. The supply and the enemy fortifications just making it real hard to dig them out with what we have there, so I've been taking some steps to improve that. The destroyer versus sub battle in the Atlantic is going hot, close to losing the Jersey destroyer. Actually, we got to make sure that gets back to the UK for some repairs, or Canada. Probably try to get it to the UK as we continue that. We had some researches finish, and notably we finally just solidified our hold over the rail line heading out of China in China. So I have a couple things I'm gonna want to do over here, that's for sure. But first things first, let's get the easy stuff out of the way. So one country that's going to be easy to deal with is America. America's sitting on 233 MPPs. We could spend that on purchasing. I mean, we're about a year away, maybe a little under a year away before Japan will undoubtedly commit the Pearl Harbor, but we don't really need to worry about that right now. We have some more research we can do on things that could help us. Infantry warfare being this thing that you research once and then that's it. There's no other levels to it. That could be very handy in our naval landings to retake all the islands that we're undoubtedly going to lose. So I'm going to go ahead and research that. That's all I'm going to spend their MPPs on. Leave them with 108 as they have, 38% mobilization. I say we're undoubtedly going to lose it because the game would severely penalize me if I actually tried to defend it. If I get even 3 units within range of, it was either Midway or Wake, range being 30 hexes, which is very far, then I'm going to start losing mobilization, losing MPPs, and we don't want to do that. It makes more sense to just let all this fall, as it wants to encourage me to let it fall, so that my hindsight doesn't save me. I'm sad there's not even garrisons here. Like, there would historically be something defending these locations, but there's nothing. The Japanese AI will undoubtedly start taking these islands. We'll have to retake them. We cannot prepare defense for them, so we will have to take them with landings. We are already researching amphibious warfare, yes, and we are already at level 1, so that's good. That's something we're going to need to be getting for a lot of others, is amphibious warfare. Depends who. Like, the UK is going to need it. UK doesn't have it. America's going to need it. Thankfully, America has it. China? That's debatable. But now let's go look at India. So India, we have still maxed our research. We cannot research anymore. They can't research as much as the big boys. They're second to last, just before China in max research capacity. China, we're still barely researching just because we're putting everything into units. Even with the Hanoi Kunming Railway going strong. And now I tried looking at the events to figure out when this was supposed to go away, and I don't know. I think it was already supposed to go away, to be honest. I think if I did not take Pakoi when I did, Japan would have spent like 25 MPPs or something, and then annexed like Hanoi and Haiphong, and then that would have probably canceled the rail line and the plus 60 MPPs I've been getting every turn. And while looking this up, if that's correct, I learned something else, and apparently there's a script in about July, not too long from now, that I'm very concerned about. If the Japanese hold Haikou, they can spend like 30 MPPs and annex all of Indochina. That's nothing. And that would certainly cancel the Hanoi Kunming Railway bonus. We'd probably get the Burma Road after that. Maybe that would be after Japan attacks America, but I feel like I need to do something to protect against that. So while I'm mentioning it, actually, let me go ahead and move this core forward and take a look at the enemy here, which is very low on supply, very low on readiness, very low on morale. We're not necessarily going to attack just yet. First, we want to see if they attack us. We have till like July, I think, with the hindsight of this script. I wish I had an army over here, but I can't spare any from the front. The front is more important than Indochina, I will say. Because once the US oil embargo, I did a lot of research on this too. Once the US oil embargo hits Japan, Japan, I think, just permanently loses like 100 or so MPPs per turn. To get that back, quote unquote, well, they can't get it back. It's permanently gone from what I can tell. I tried asking on the Steam forums and like I couldn't get a straight answer out of anybody. Everybody just gave me strategies and told me to see for myself. So that was very unfortunate. But when the embargo hits Japan, they'll like permanently lose about 100 MPPs, like a third of their MPP income. And then they're going to try to take the DEI. They're going to pull it off. Without a doubt, they're going to pull it off unless we somehow just kill a bunch of shit here, but they probably get free units just to do these invasions, if I had to guess. But so they'll pull this off, and then they'll get a new convoy from, I believe, Batavia. A new one that's going to give them all the MPPs they're missing. Also, I looked up in the stats how much MPPs this right here is worth, combined with this. And these two combined right now is netting them like 120 MPPs, which is crazy. Meaning we can actually, if we take Port Arthur, which I believe becomes Dalian later, we can actually do some severe damage to the Japanese. That's for sure. I'm hoping my success with China will make this all just so much easier. I'm very afraid of losing Indochina now that I know it's coming. I wish I had focused taking Haikou. I don't know if I'll be able to time this right. We did go ahead and purchase another Arty piece, which will be here in January. So when that shows up, I was actually already planning on putting it in the south and trying to break Haikou with it. I'm going to keep according to that plan. And hopefully it works out. Hopefully we can take Haikou, and then that doesn't happen. However, I saw that due to the desperation, I don't fully know of what, maybe the continuation of the Hanoi-Kunming rail line, I'm not sure. But due to that problem, even if Japan has lost Haikou, I believe they are just given the opportunity to declare war via an event. Although if they declare war, it means Indochina would just join us. We would get their MPPs. They wouldn't be immediately taken over, just for exchange for a couple of MPPs. And I believe it's something like a 10 to 15% swing of America to the Allies. More mobilization means more MPPs. If they annex it, it's more like 5%. So, yeah, that's a concern of mine. That really distracted me. So looking at India, I stayed up like an hour or two late last night trying to research all this, because a lot of the events in this game are not well explained. Okay, India. With India, we are also purchasing a heavy artillery piece, the only heavy artillery piece that they can field within the hard caps. That's going to arrive in January as well, at the same time as the Chinese one. Purchasing a lot of heavy artillery. So I'm thinking, all right, so China is kicking ass, taking names, doing great. India is going to be supporting the Brits, because the Brits need support, because I just kept fucking everything up in Europe, and Africa's not doing too well. So I'm looking at this thinking, all right, so what can we do that's easy to realistically help with that? So I was thinking, well, fighter attack bomber support, these guys can field a pretty large air force. That would be great, but also expensive. Also expensive, as great as it would be. Our melee fronts... Melee? This is World War II, Res. What the fuck? Our melee fronts, I don't know what else to call it. Front lines, we don't actually have a lot of infantry. We have a couple corps here and there. Supplying them with supplies is hard enough. But having a few more could help. The UK just can't fund this right now, especially if they're dealing with Egypt. And I believe Yugoslavia and Greece are going to come soon. And that's going to be the UK's problem. So I'm thinking, how can India help with this? Well, we have HQs in place. We just need more men. That's important. And men are much cheaper than getting planes. Now, I'm not thinking about getting a core. No. I'm thinking about getting something much better. We don't need a front line. We need effectiveness. Armies, 250 MPPs, that's scary. But they have good attack values. But you know what is really good attack values overall and costs a little more than a core and far less than an army? Is the special forces. Look at their attack values on the right here. You'll see everything pretty much on the attack value, except for soft targets, is going up like crazy. And garrisons are soft targets, but a lot of other things we fight are going to be hard targets or otherwise. Like corps and armies are hard targets in this game. That's a big gain. I was originally thinking paratroopers, but they're more expensive and their attack values aren't as good. And also special forces have a full zone of control, which I believe can help affect supply. They both have good demobilization. We want to get both of these. India can only get one special force, one paratrooper. So I'm thinking of getting these and sending them west. Naturally, I will get the special forces and I will pick the set name for them. The Gurkhas. Hell fucking yeah. Anybody know about the Gurkhas? Those are some kick-ass fucking dudes in World War II, man. We're going to get the Gurkha Special Forces for India. This will arrive in March, unfortunately, 1941. That's pretty far in. That's pretty far in. That's getting towards Operation Barbarossa. That's like right before Operation Barbarossa. And, oh, yeah. But we have to wait the time, you know? That's how it works in this game. So let's purchase our Gurkhas as India. We have 37 MPPs left. We're going to leave India like that for the time being. For the Soviet Union, we're not going to do anything. Because I want to research more indie tech as them. And because that will give me more MPPs over time, which, you know, as the allies is my strength. I don't get things from plundering. I guess I could. But that's not something I'm going to try in this playthrough. So, Indie Tech, very important. So we're going to wait another turn and save up for that. Cool, that's like 3 nations done. Now we have the hardest nations to deal with, the UK and China. Alright, so, UK, first and foremost, we need to get this Jersey Destroyer to safety. We have to make sure there's nothing that's going to get in its way and try to kill it. So I'm going to do some recon with this sub. I see nothing that could get in its way. Cruise mode. We got to get you into a port, sir. All the ports are taken. But we can free up a spot with this battle cruiser here. Yeah. Alright, let's free up a spot with the battle cruiser. Let's go ahead and get you. Cruise mode. What path are you going to take? Oy, okay. Okay. We have another destroyer here. Go ahead and kind of do one of these. Alright, cool. So it looks like it's going to be safe. Yes. Alright. Let's sail over to Glasgow, the Clyde major port with the Jersey Destroyer. It will be able to recover and get some upgrades in shortly. We did just have submarines nearby over here. I don't know where they went or what they did. We're going to go ahead. Ooh, we can't reinforce this guy here. Why not? Because the port doesn't have enough supply? But that's stupid. What do you mean? What's the supply in these places? Yeah, because it's 5? I don't have an HQ. I can't do anything. So does that mean I can't get these guys up to full strength in Canada? Which means I wouldn't be able to do it in Iceland either. I could just do upgrades out here. Meaning I have to send the Canadians to the UK to get them upgrades. Fuck. Or America, but America's not in the war right now. Damn it, Canada. Can't you get some better infrastructure? Whatever. We can get you your upgrades while you're here anyway. Naval weaponry, aircraft defense. We'll send you to the UK for the further, for the reinforcements. Everything's gonna have to go to the UK for reinforcements then. Okay. Great. We have no reports of any damage being taken here. So, I'm just kind of gonna progress. Oh, found him. Found one of them. We found the stronger one. Alright, cool. So we found that guy. We do have some other things to do here as well, I must mention. So the Mohawk Destroyer is freed up. That's good. We're going to move you in front of these guys for the time being. So that we can put the... You know, I really don't want you in this port. But I don't have many better options in range. This is where you spawned. I don't think the Germans won't be able to see this unless they have a sub anyway, judging by the fog of war. So we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm still so curious. Are the Germans garrisoning Paris? Are they garrisoning France? And if they are, like, I know when the Germans take this over, I also found this out. They get an event that allows them to put up coastal batteries that defend against amphibious landing craft. Can you do that if Italy owns it instead? This is why I want to do an Axis and Allied playthrough beforehand, to try to understand the events and stuff in this game as much as not that I'd figure this out, because I wouldn't make this mistake. I'm sure this could be a valid strategy to some players, but to me, this just looks like a mistake. Speaking of mistakes, one thing I learned with the diplomacy that... I think I learned it. I've read something about it. Apparently, no matter what country a country is leaning towards becoming a minor of, you can send chits from any major into it, so long as that major can access that country, and it will still push it towards the country it's leaning towards. So, for example, what's a good one? Iraq. Iraq's leaning 25% to the UK. If I had put chits from India into Iraq, it would not start creating a new split, I think, from what I've recently discovered, and then start leaning towards India instead. It's going to just progress towards the UK on India's dime. And so that's something I actually wish that I knew earlier, because I put both of India's chits, 100 MPPs worth, into Afghanistan, 10% chance of success every turn, and we've seen no success whatsoever. Not that India can actually access a whole lot of things, and a lot of the things it can access are, they're not they're things that are going to join the war anyway. But, like, they could be helping with communist China. They could be helping with... What the fuck? Madagascar is leaning to war? Oh, because it's Vichy. They could be helping with... What's another one? Persia's going to be conquered, probably. Mongolia. They could be helping with Iraq. Things like that. You know what I mean? And then vice versa. Like, Afghanistan is not very important to put these chits into in comparison to everything else based on how I've discovered the diplomacy to work in this game so far. That is something else that I've discovered. I'm getting so sidetracked with everything I've been learning lately in this game. Alright, we gotta do some upgrades. Anti-air, naval weaponry, light cruiser. Same thing at Liverpool. Let's get all the upgrades. This is 20 MPPs for each light cruiser. I don't think there's any more in port. There's a Southampton here. Oh, you know, I could get this bitch to Southampton. Yeah, let's take the Southampton light cruiser. Let's move it out in front in St. George's Channel. Let's take the Triumphant and move that up to Belfast, the Devonport major port, because it'll be a lot safer over there than down here. The garrison over here is going to continue its happy way to Plymouth, where it can begin entrenching just in case. I have nowhere else to put it, and I'd rather something stronger be sitting on London. There's no upgrades to do on anybody here, with the exception that I can put anti-air defenses and stuff on, like, these ports. I can put it on these cities, but until the Germans start bombing me, I have no reason to actually do that. Alright, so now looking back at this submarine, we're going to sail up with the stronger destroyer, we're going to try to attack it, and we accomplish nothing. Now try with the weaker one. We dealt 1 damage, took less. You see how much slower that went, by the way? I learned that I did in fact have quick animations on, and so I took the quick animations off, and we're going to try looking at the game with the normal speed, because one thing I've noticed this whole playthrough is, especially when it's playing back to me, look, I didn't even know that numbers popped up like that, really. I didn't. That gave me information. When I'm watching the axis turn, I never have enough time to digest any of the information, and I have to look over things that I'm still not quite sure what happened. And so that can be a big problem. You know, this might add more time, but still, like, this is a big problem. So I'm going to try to fix that, quote unquote, by slowing it down. And if it's too slow, I'll put it back, but hopefully I'll be able to actually understand everything that's happening, because right now I've been doing a lot of guesswork. Let's move the Javelin destroyer up and attack the submarine. Not a whole lot of luck there. Still, we don't have any ASW improvements, so that's to be expected. There is the Mohawk destroyer that we can send up as well, but I don't think we need to leave it here as a screen, to be honest, because I don't think they're going to be dumb enough to come here. If a submarine shows itself, it's just going to get bombed out of existence by my carriers, who are screened by a bunch of cruisers. So I'm going to send the Mohawk destroyer up in that direction so that it can assist with the ASW in the Battle of the Atlantic to the best of our abilities. Take the Southampton, move it 1 hex south. Now we got to prioritize. So the reason I haven't been air bombing or doing a lot of things with what I have over here is because I'm trying to move my MPP allocation away from Europe now. So the enemies here just keep repairing themselves. You know, they keep recovering all the damage we deal. But they're just garrisons. They're not too important. Once we get the Special Forces, that'll hopefully really help. We're going to reinforce the Sudanese Defense Force Corps. We're going to attack with the South African 2nd Corps. We've dealt 1 damage, it's not a lot. Oh, I really prefer this speed so far, at least on my turn. We're going to swap the 1st Corps into position and attack with them. We've dealt 1 more damage, lost nothing. Oh, yeah. Again, we'll see it on the playback, but I'm loving this speed. I can actually understand what's happening. Instead of having to just do the math myself and see what happens, I can actually see indicators now. Holy crap, that is so nice. I wish I realized that earlier. I thought that was the default speed. I must have said it accidentally, or it must be a default. I don't know. Looking at the Italians in Libya, I'm going to go ahead and guess the Italians were way more focused on France. They're not here yet. And knowing the Italians, if they have scripts to follow their historical tendencies, they're going to be piling up in Albania, getting ready for an invasion of Greece, or maybe they have an event for that. I don't know. But Tobruk here has only 3 supply now, and their army is getting weaker and weaker. Not that I had very good success against them there before, but we're going to go ahead, yeah, no upgrades. Take the TAC bombers, and we're going to go drop some bombs on these bitches. We dealt no damage, but we actually took damage. How the fuck does Tobruk have anti-air? No, it doesn't. We just got really unlucky there. I think their readiness and morale went down, though. We could also try to strafe them. with our fighters. That might be horribly inefficient. We're gonna shoot with the desert field artillery. Okay, we recovered 2 shells, which has me really confused. I guess because 2 turns up, but no, the Chinese don't recover that quickly. That's so strange to me. Readiness morale down more. All right, already them again. Readiness morale look untouched, but their supply has gone down. We're in very low supply right now with this desert recon. So this may not be the smartest, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to cut off the roadway leading to Tobruk altogether. And then from there, I'm just going to go back because I want to stay in supply. But that should hopefully hurt. That means the only form of supply this can get is coming from the ocean. Our attack chances are going up with the army. So that's good. We can't reinforce this core currently. The supply here is just too fucking bad. We're too far away from anything. If we could take Tobruk, that would be fantastic. Yeah, that's... I want to take Tobruk so I can use it as like a little naval base, maybe. Because we might need to send something to Greece. We may be able to pull something off with Greece. We have a few months till then. I forget when this happens. April? April? No. This starts way earlier than that. Because Italy attacks, and then later, Germany attacks Yugoslavia, and then Italy. So, this happens in, what, April? March? March finishes in April. This finishes in April. Which means this could be happening really fucking soon. So that's what has me concerned. Let's go ahead and attack with the WDF army. Don't know what that stands for. We dealt 3 damage. We took no damage. Holy fucking shit. Alright, I'm gonna be ballsy. Let's go ahead and strafe the fuckers. No damage taken on my side. Readiness morale may be lowered. Their entrenchment, they have no entrenchment. This is still not very efficient, but let's attack with the core. Nothing done. Let's attack with the anti-tank. We dealt a damage. Took nothing. Okay, I like this. Also probably done, but let's attack with the desert recon. Because the supply is so low, they won't be able to recover this up to full strength. Because the readiness and morale is so low, we might overrun it. The sooner we overrun it, the better. This will be a great source of supply for us, and a great defensive point for when I expect Rommel will show up. We can hopefully take Tobruk and hold it against him. I don't remember if that happened in real life or not. I do remember I think the Allies got pushed back into Egypt. I don't know if they ever took Tobruk though. So I'm really hoping to take it. This will also hurt the national morale of the Italians, which is right now at 101%. The UK is at 94%, so that's not the greatest. How else are we faring? China's at 85%. Don't know if that's been trending up or down. It should be trending up this whole time, and Japan's at 88%. Yeah. As for that embargo I mentioned earlier, by the way, I think the MPP hit is like a one-turn permanent thing. But from what I've seen and what I've read, I think you take a morale hit, you being Japan, every turn that the embargo is going until you go to war with the US. This was not explained to me anywhere. This is all observation. This is entirely guesswork. All right, so we're out of strikes. That's the best we can do here for this turn. Hopefully, next turn we can take this, because they shouldn't be able to reinforce it. At least not fully. It's like basically out of supply. We didn't take any losses this time around. So, fingers crossed. I'm very optimistic about that. Now we have some choices to make as the UK. We have 235 MPPs remaining. This is the perfect time to start air raiding, or to start getting the Australians and Malayans and New Zealand ready for war, or purchasing a new British unit or some other African thing that can help us out in Africa. However, what I'm going to do instead, because everything seems to be mostly under control for the time being, we finished Indie Technology last turn, the first level. We can get the second level going now, which can increase our MPP gain in the long run throughout this. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to have the UK start researching the second level of Indie Technology, because I think that's just so fucking important. We now have 110 MPPs remaining. Simultaneously, you know, this could go into something. Reinforcements, maybe. We can't afford any units, really, with this. But there's still research to be done. And very important ones. Not just, oh, research. I could do research. No. There's very important ones. And while I can't afford more AA defense, as helpful as that would be, I can't afford, you know, more naval weaponry, blah, blah, blah. You know what I can afford that's going to be really important is the UK? Amphibious warfare. This will increase the attack values of amphibious landing craft, which I don't fully know what they do, their action points, and the build limits. That's huge. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start researching the first level of that, because I don't know if we're actually going to do a Normandy, right? I'm not thinking that far ahead. I don't know how the game works well enough for that. But I'm prioritizing everything but Europe. Hell, if we get lucky, we could just get Finland on our side, and then we can land in Finland, and, like, if the USSR gets its ass beat, but if it doesn't get its ass beat, then, you know, that means maybe the I don't know. I don't know. So we're just gonna do that. We now have to look at China. Alright, Chinese front. Because I don't really know fully what happened, because, again, the game moves so fucking fast during these turns, what I can see is that up by Peking, we did not take any additional damage. Our defensive artillery did not fire, which means that they were just reinforcing over here. They were just recovering. They didn't do anything to hurt us. We do have some injured units here that I'm going to prioritize recovering. Anything, essentially, that's super hurt. Maybe not... Okay. Maybe not things that are at 9, because holy fucking shit, their maritime bombers are on the front line. They left bombers on the front line. Are you fucking kidding me? Alright, so let's start with the simple things again. So, this corps, looks like they recovered the losses I dealt last turn, which is always unfortunate. They're still adamant about holding Nanchang and Wuhan. Very adamant. They even moved the HQ here back, which kind of fucks up the whole army swapping thing I've been doing this whole time. But, oh my god, look. Look, our corps on the front have experience now too. They're actually amassing experience. Most of them are not in supply to get elite reinforcements, but they have experience, which is going to make them actually do better. Only this one isn't enough supply. Ugh, supply. I hate it. I hate supply. Let's go ahead and let's just attack then. You're getting XP, but so are we. Let's swap out the units from Amoy. Attack again. Absolutely no damage is being dealt. Their morale's at 4%. Come on, man. Let's go ahead and attack with the 3rd Corps. We dealt 1 damage. We took 1 damage. Oh, I love this slower speed so much. We can afford the elite reinforcements here, which would definitely help us break through here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the elite reinforcements on them. It costs more than getting normal reinforcements, but it could be what we need to break through this line. Ideally. Maybe not with certainty, but ideally. What's the supply look like over here? How much in supply do I even need to be to pull any of this off? Like, if I move back into 6, is that enough? Because 5 is clearly not enough. If I move back into 6, can I get elite reinforcements? I don't know. 7 certainly will be enough. 7 certainly. I am also curious, what if I just move the HQ further up? Because it's trying to support this primarily. We could try that. That could be a thing we could do. It kind of abandons this front, but this HQ is already picking up the slack. This HQ has a lot of work to do. These 2 HQs are helping a lot. We're going to move it up more. And then maybe the supply on the front line itself will just be better enough that I don't need to worry about anything I'm worrying about. So now the problem here is I want to go on a big offensive right now. But I'm afraid. I'm afraid of all these armies here, and I'm afraid to move my armies up, even if they're missing just 1 strength point, because that could be all, like, a lot of the things that have happened around here, especially right here, like, in fortifications, they get me down to 1 strength. That 1 strength on my army could be pretty important, and armies are worth a hell of a lot more than corps, and would draw a lot more attention than corps. Theoretically, if I don't move here, these armies won't do shit to me. Because if they wanted to swap out and do damage like that, they'd have to, like, they'd have to move up. And they'd probably go for the engineers instead. So I'm going to take a little bit of risk. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a little bit of risk. We're going to move up the army. This army right here, the 12th army. And we're going to attack this fucking maritime bomber, because repairing bombers is hard. And if you're just leaving this out here for me to attack, fuck you. That's right. That's right. You saw that shit? That's fucking hot. Oh, man, and then that opens up the rail line, and then we could start doing an encirclement. No, we don't have the capability to do that right now, Res. Calm the fuck down. We need to go ahead and reinforce our units on the line. So let's go ahead, reinforce. Let's look up. You need to reinforce. You're kind of holding this right now. How far north can you go? You can go there, which means you can be moved north. Which means you can be moved somewhere else as well. I don't know that there's a good place to move you. I can't even reinforce you. Oh. Alright, so I'm going to take this corps. I'm going to move it up north into this field. Maybe scare the army at Peking a little bit. We're going to take the 23rd Army. We're going to move it down into this marsh. because it will be able to help push through this special forces unit. I'm more concerned with kicking them out of here than pushing north, so I'm trying to get my strength facing that direction. Now, this army will reinforce. This corps will reinforce. We're getting ready for an offensive. We're not pulling off an offensive. We're getting ready for one. This corps is not needed here anymore. I don't know what to do with it, but it could probably be pretty handy because our breakthrough is going to come from the north. Funny, the whole time it was like, oh, it's going to come from the south. Now it's going to come from the north. God, you know where the fucking special forces really could have been handy? Down by Haiko. Oh well, we'll figure it out. I don't know what's happening with them yet, but we're going to move this corps forward. We're going to get the special forces in its place. And this is actually on the rail line. It's on a rail line. Not a rail line that can get down here. At least not without taking Wuhan. But, that aside, we do have another corps here that can get an elite reinforcement. That could come in handy. I'm going to go ahead and get that. That leaves us with 129 MPPs. I'm going to spend that, since we're getting all of our artillery, and artillery is proving pretty handy for us, I'm going to go ahead and spend it on researching the one single upgrade we can get in artillery weapons, and then I believe that's everything we're going to do for every single nation, and we are out of time for this episode. So, thank you guys very much for watching. Next time, we'll see how well all of our plans go. I'm really excited about, like, Italy and Libya and some of these other places, but yes, for now, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.